being so physically dependent on yourself is something that I had my entire life. And to just have that completely stripped away.
I have diabetes, Addison's disease, Hashimoto's, epilepsy. My thing was always like, what's gonna fail me next?
I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis on my 18th birthday, October 14th, 2013. Because it's something that can be very invisible, like you wouldn't know someone has it. It seems almost like you're making up symptoms, or like you're making up that it's a struggle to deal with it.
When I was younger, something that was really easy for me to think is like, well, maybe God gave me these failing organs because he didn't care about me.
Katy was told by doctors that she would have a very low chance of becoming pregnant if she was even able to have kids at all.
But then after we got married, we got pregnant, and we were told that this couldn't happen, and they were like, well, it did. So that was like a huge shock. And we ended up having a miscarriage at 11 weeks with that baby. And we were told in the emergency room, like, oh, that AMH level doesn't correspond with how like hard it is for you to get pregnant. It corresponds with like how hard it is for that baby to survive. So like more than likely, like it might be better to just like have your tubes tied now so that you don't keep having miscarriages. So we were like, well, let's just like think and pray about it for a couple months because we're overwhelmed.
Yes.
And then a month later, we got pregnant again. But I think that we didn't really feel like hopeful about Avery for a while. Probably honestly,
pretty much
4 or 5 months of us being like, well, this probably isn't going to be successful. We'll just prepare ourselves for the next bad news. And then she kept growing and was born healthy as can be. So it definitely felt like the biggest miracle. And I feel like even now, like every night I just sit with her and I'm like, holy cow, like such a tangible evidence of God's miracles. In January, Andy said he had started feeling like his ulcerative colitis was acting up and he needed to go see his doctor.
I had never experienced pain like that. That part of the couch I just sat on for 2 weeks straight, basically. Didn't move, just laid here, didn't really eat. I couldn't walk. While this is going on, Katy is 8 months pregnant with our baby girl.
His doctor decided to switch the kind of medicine he was taking. We thought it would be an easy fix and he would start feeling better shortly, but he didn't. I think being in the hospital having the baby was when I truly realized how seriously sick he was.
It's kind of a joke, but also very serious that like more nurses and doctors came in to check on me after the delivery than on Katy, and she had just delivered a baby. They finally decided to bring me in for surgery, and it was supposed to be a simple procedure with a quick recovery. The surgery really caused more pain and highlighted how bad my disease had gotten.
And we had to call an ambulance to get him back to the hospital because he couldn't walk out to the car.
And then in the hospital, I actually didn't move, eat, or drink for 8 days straight.
We spent 3 weeks at the hospital. Andy doesn't remember most of it because of the amount of medicine they had him on to control his pain. It was by far the hardest thing I've ever done. I would be at the hospital from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. while my parents and Andy's parents watched Avery, and then I would come home and we would spend the night with the baby. Every single day, I would get into the car on my way to and from the hospital, and it felt like all I could do was turn the music very loud and cry.
The ostomy was a big step, having a part of your body outside of your body, and that's now how, you're functioning. That's how your GI tract works now, is you cut off half of it, basically. That felt like a big step, and then the fact that they reversed it, and so now I'm back to normal as much as normal can be. It's still weird because in the back of my head I know that it could happen again, and there's a higher likelihood now that I am going to have my colon removed later in life, and not every good thing is only good. It's not just one or the other. There's a lot of emotions that come with every single decision that we've made throughout this process, and every single procedure and every change has been met with joy and still a pretty good deal of uncertainty.
We have realized what a blessing it is to have the family and friends that we do. During this time, our families and movement group were definitely big parts of reminding me who my God was and is.
In the past, not talking about it at all, I could just ignore it, and it was like it wasn't even there. And now it's very much so, it's prominently in my head every day. It was heavy on my heart to take ownership of the impact that you can make by sharing your struggles. Just seeing the kind of power that it has by showing imperfections.
Healing can be such a long-term thing, like where it's just like a chronic illness, like you're chronically healing. Like I fully believe that we're gonna be dancing in heaven one day with bodies that are completely healed and renewed. But I think that right now, healing on earth looks more mental and emotional.
There's no way that it's not God, because we are not this strong, I promise you. Like there's just no way around it.